Some days, I just love working at Rock Island Auction Company. And some days I love more than others. Especially when I have a collection like this in front of me of U.S. Marshal, military if you will, muzzle-loading rifles, and some of the finest ones you will ever lay eyes on right out of Greg Lamp's collection. For those of you who don't know who Greg Lamp is, the people who do know Greg Lamp know he only had the best. And what you're looking at on the table, if you wanted to collect U.S. Marshal rifles, the primary examples, you would have to look no further than what's on this table to get started. If you wanted to upgrade your guns, or just start with the best and start collecting these, I would say you would be smart to fight to own every single one of these on the table because you would never have to look again. At the front of the table here, we have just a spectacular example of a U.S. Harper's Ferry Model 1803 rifle. They do not get much better than that one. I just have not seen one come through here in a long time that even comes close. So the 1803 rifle is special because this is considered the first armory-made rifle considered to be a primary issued rifle in U.S. military service. Mind you, at this time, the smoothbore musket was the main issue arm in service. So when I say smoothbore, I'm talking about a gun that doesn't have rifling down the bore. There's no twist down the barrel cut, no grooves cut in the bore. So they were not as accurate. The idea was men would stand in a line, they would all shoot at once, the bullet would go maybe 75 yards and curve whatever direction it wanted to. With rifles, you could get accuracy quite a bit further, and the idea was to be able to do skirmish tactics, hide in the bushes and shoot from out of there, from far away. And so this kind of started successfully during the American Revolution, where the British hired German hunters, skilled German hunters, the Hessians, to fight against the colonials and brought them over here to U.S. soil. And Patrick Ferguson and his riflemen. And then the American backwoodsmen were the men who stood up to Ferguson and his men using American long rifles or Pennsylvania long rifles. And so, turn of the 19th century, early 1800s, the U.S. military decided they wanted a rifle of their own for U.S. military service. And so this is what they came up with, the 1803 rifle, inspired by the Pennsylvania long rifles and Kentucky long rifles of the time, and actually went on to inspire more designs later. These were used during the War of 1812, heavily used. And so most of these guns are used and abused. You will not see examples like this. It'll probably be a long time coming before we get another example that compares to what you see on the end of the table there. Those stamps on the breech, those are crisp. The edges in the middle, they're sharp. The stamp on the side, the cartouche on the side of the stock on the wrist there, just pristine. That is a beautiful example of a Model 1803 Harper's Ferry. So the second gun in, this 1817 Common Rifle. Once again, good luck seeing another one this good. Look at the case colors on that lock. To see an 1817 Common Rifle with case colors, that's almost unheard of. To see one with just about all the brown on the barrel, yeah, that doesn't happen. This is a beautiful example. One that one would strive a lifetime to find. So the 1817 came after the 1803, as one would expect. They have termed it in the modern day more so the 1817. It got nicknamed the Common Rifle at the time because there was the Hall rifle also in service, which was a breech-loading rifle. I left it off of here because what I wanted to show was the main muzzle-loading examples. The Common Rifle was called the Common Rifle to differentiate it. But these were in 54 caliber, as were the 1803s ahead of it. And that was specified because they wanted a certain bullet weight, which was about 1/30th of a pound, roughly. And so the 54 caliber is what they used, 54 caliber ball. The third gun in on this table, I mean, wow. This Eli Whitney manufactured example of a Model 1841 Mississippi rifle. This is one of the top few finest examples left in existence. It just doesn't get better than this. I originally planned on doing this video on maybe just one of these guns, and then I thought, why not show all of these to show just how good the Greg Lamp collection is? Why not show each and every one of these key U.S. Marshall rifles? But this 1841 Mississippi rifle is just out of this league good. This is a beautiful piece. People have searched high and low to find 1841s like this. This one is not altered, so just about probably I would say like 90-something% of Mississippi rifles were altered to take a different style bayonet. You'll see all different sorts of shapes and sizes of these rifles. A lot of these were bored out from their original 54 caliber to 58 caliber. This one's still in 54. As you can tell, it clearly doesn't even look like it saw use. It's a true time capsule. It's just beautiful. So the term Mississippi rifle started because these rifles were successfully used by Jefferson Davis's men, the 1st Mississippi Rifle Regiment. And they used them during the Mexican-American War. And these rifles were considered to play a key role in the U.S. victory at Buena Vista. And so, being used by the Mississippi Rifle Regiment, they gained the well-deserved nickname, the Mississippi Rifle. This next gun on the table, this is a Model 1855 Springfield. And what makes the 1855 so special, let alone this example in front of me, I mean, just a fabulous example of an 1855. Also, like the 1841s, you don't see these in this high of condition. These were all used heavily. And some of these were even burned in the Harper's Ferry Armory fire right at the beginning of the Civil War. And during the beginning phases of the Civil War, these were all used heavily. So to see one like this with crisp edges, crisp stampings, you're gonna look a lifetime to find one that's gonna come close. But the 1855, what makes this model so special, this is the first U.S. martial arm to use what we know of as the mini ball. The mini ball is a different form of lead ball. It's shaped differently. It's got grooves on the back of it that are able to expand. It's shaped differently. It actually prevents fouling down the board. It's a lot more accurate than what came before it. So this is the 58 caliber Minié ball. This is the first example of a U.S. martial arm to use it. And it also has this special thing, the Maynard tape primer system. So I'm gonna back up for a second here. The percussion system you see on the 1841 Mississippi, this is the first primary Marshall muzzle-loading arm to use the percussion system, as opposed to the flintlock you see on the common rifle before it. So the percussion system was an upgrade on the flintlock. It was cleaner burning. It didn't create as much of a spark and flash. This example, the 1855, has the percussion system and then this Maynard tape priming device with a tape roll. If you've ever seen like a cap gun as a boy growing up, it has a tape roll of primers. And so that was a pretty big piece of technology. That got replaced by the 1861 Springfield at the outbreak of the Civil War. And what they did was they simplified this gun. Once again, what a just spectacular example on the table. So, back to my point, they simplified the 1861 to get rid of the Maynard tape primer because they discovered that in service, if it rained, that tape primer got wet, it didn't work. And also a way to cut production costs and speed up production because they needed arms in the hands of Union soldiers at the outbreak of the war. So the 1861 was the main battle rifle, if you will, of the Union Army during the U.S. Civil War. And this example in front of me, you're just not going to improve on it. And this is, for every Civil War collector, this is the gun that they want. They want the 1861 Springfield. It's a key piece to have. It's a hole in everyone's collection if they don't have one, or if they do have one, this example is going to upgrade yours. I just about guarantee it. You're not going to find one better than this. And then at the front of the table, we have an 1863 Springfield. So that was a minor design change on the 1861. It still shoots the 58 caliber Minié, as does this one in front of me. It just has a differently shaped lock. It's now case hardened. You'll see some with bright bands. This one has blued barrel bands. But once again, just a spectacular example on the table. You'll look a lifetime to upgrade on just about any of these guns on the table. This serves as a great representation of the main U.S. Martial rifles from as early as the War of 1812 up through the Civil War. These are going to be offered in our May premiere auction, all Greg Lamp collection items. If you want the best, look no further.